Namaste, Galactic family. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Come on into this live sudden update on December 8th, 2024. Come on in, check on into this live. We have a lot to get into from the last discussion that we had with Noko when we started talking about the activations of Shambala and what's happening according to New Earth with these new activations of Shambala coming online. The etheric gates of Shambala are opening, you guys. Now is the time. So come on in, check on into this live, you guys. And you may have to be subscribed to the channel for at least 60 seconds to uh, talk in the chat. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that notifications bell and put a like on this video because we got so much to get into today. And it's pretty cold here down in Pensacola, Florida, just so you guys know, it's freezing. I think it's probably at like 20 or 30 degrees maybe. And I actually haven't checked that, so maybe someone can check the temperature in Pensacola for me and let me know. But yeah, I've been kind of walking around with blankets. I've been really cozy. So yeah, it's been kind of just the changing of the seasons. Yeah, winter is here. So yeah, guys, I'm just waiting until some more people come into the live and check in before I kind of get started. I have so much to get into with you guys. I've been really kind of taking note with what's occurring in the higher timelines and the New Earth timelines and what's occurring to New Earth prophecy. And I've been getting really guided to the mountain peaks of Shambhala. So I've really done an extensive deep dive on all of these gateways and portals and what spiritual energies are connected to them and, what ascended energies do they hold in terms of the planet and the planetary 12th dimensional blueprint and which ascended masters are essentially coming through which gate sites. Um, it's been really interesting to explore this because I find that even just tuning in on a level of research and energy and meditation, that it's been extremely activating. Um, so yeah, I've been getting a lot of hits about this. This is really expanding right now. It's, I think, really coming to serve future New Earth and the New Earth prophecy going into year 2200 and 2400 that these portals and gateways of Shambhala on the planet for um, the God I am and for the children of light, and for those of us who are walking the path of ascension and enlightenment and connecting into our true cosmic sovereign galactic identity, calling forth our ancestors, our universal tree of life, like really intuiting the authenticity of our ancient self and also our eternal self, that these portals are, here to sustain this consciousness here, the ascended timelines. So it's a beautiful thing that's happening, but there's also, I think, some controversy that's going on in terms of the old Earth timelines and the World War III timelines. So I'm going to talk to you about some things that I've come across in terms of Mount Hermon. Some of you guys may have seen this with Mount Hermon, that yeah, basically they've kind of invaded it. There's like a situation going on over there. So we're going to talk about that. So yeah, guys, come on in, check on into this live. It's a spontaneous Sunday fun day. Let me know you're here in the comments. Say hello. Yeah, so nice to see you guys today. I am drinking my mushroom coffee and it's really good. I made it just right. You know, when you kind of like hit the spot, you make something just right. It's just so good. Yeah, super good. Yeah, so come on in, guys. Got a lot going on right now. Basically, you guys may know there's a Mars retrograde, right? This has kind of begun, and we're gonna be going through that, I think, until about February 23rd. So I think that this is a Mars retrograde. We're gonna be hanging in there, you guys, because it might be a bit of a bumpy road. Because Mars is it's like a difficult, it can be a difficult and challenging quality. It can bring through a lot of changes because we're in the time of change, trying to get to the time of grace, trying to get to the golden age, the age of grace. But yeah, along the way, some of these planetary transitions can definitely put us through more challenging timelines. So I think the Mars retrograde can be a little bit more intense than a Mercury retrograde. And it's really, yeah, one that you just have to, I think, practice a lot more of patience and, yeah, knowing when to act and react in certain situations because and anything impulsive or abrupt during a Mars retrograde might have kind of like a whiplash effect to it, so to speak. Yeah, so watch out for that Mars retrograde, guys. Let me know if you're feeling it. I haven't really felt, anything too much according to that, but I felt like it was relative to what's occurring. And when I did my last live, I had someone comment, I think it was Mawahari 444, so shout out to you. He commented that Shambala week of Earth begins December 17th through the 24th. Um, And I'm like, yeah, where is this coming from? Because if you have it for me, just drop it down in the comments. If you've heard about um like it being like an official week of this activation, because I've been really feeling the mountains of Shambhala since leaving Arkansas, that was something that was going to be very, very significant as it's just really recalibrating the higher divine shifts and frequencies that we're creating in the new Earth's ascension. And so we're getting a lot of planetary upgrades. You may even have I have a kind of a voice scratch thing going on, and it's like the voice cords and the vocal cords are getting upgraded right now. They're going to be more activated. They're going to become more holy tones and angelic tones and God's sovereign tones as we get these really big upgrades that it's going to continue to shift our voice and how we're transmitting the spiritual upgrades in the planet that we will exist through the eyes of that spiritual transformation. And so everything about our frequency has to align to attune to that, to present that to the world as we get, upgraded as the 144 and as we get upgraded more with this Kristalla pathwork that we are beginning to walk, through the grid worker activations. And this is really what it's coming through, you guys, is the grid work. I mean, if you want to really quickly and rapidly upgrade your light body, your consciousness, your attunement and connection to source, is just to get out to some of these sacred locations and vortices and stargates and peaks of Shambhala and get the bodily activations and the codes because it just rapidly continues to evolve and transcend the spirit and the light body, and it reforms holographically and energetically, the whole vortice of your heart. Essentially, it's getting upgraded in the DNA, but it's getting upgraded in the chambers of the vortices of the inner layers of the heart, and which get upgraded, to higher heart codes, like the eternal unconditional love codes. And yeah, it levels it up to the higher heart, and the codes up through the angelic heart start coming online. And then, you're just super expanded and have the ability to hold so much creation inside you. Um, and so your reverence for life, your reverence for humanity, your capacity for compassion, um, just your ability to accept people from all walks of life. The differences become intriguing, the differences become unique, and so you honor differences. You just see in all the ways to meld division, and conquer and divide and destruction. And it's just like you're beaming the crystal love heart gaze, all the time. It's like you're just drunk on you're drunk on the angelic forces, right? You're drunk on like just the love. Like it's yeah, so we're getting so many higher profound divine shifts right now, you guys. Vocal cords, throat chakra upgrades, 12th dimensional blueprint, body upgrades, guardian template update upgrades, angelic upgrades. Our sacred language is getting upgraded. So you guys may notice like I feel like I've been almost speaking differently, like saying sacred hearts and God sovereign free souls. Like these words are just coming from like just the acknowledgement of where everyone else is that's aligned with me, and like the purity that's in our hearts and the intentions of that. So it's just we're getting upgraded to embody Shambala in all ways, really, because Shambhala is coming to the planet. It's coming to the earth. Like it's always been here. This goes back to Hinduism and Buddhism and Jainism and the original ancient Sanskrit languages. But, they're the ones that speak of these things. I think the furthest back probably in, history that I would be aware of, unless there's like sacred teachings, coming down from the Nakal tablets, or just ancient sacred text from Lemuria. I don't know if Shambhala is in the Lemurian scrolls or not. If anybody has the book Lemurian Scrolls, and if it talks about Shambhala, drop it down in the comments. Yeah, and I can always go look myself. I do have the book. Hey, Indigo Wizard. Planets are aligning this month also. Yeah. Yeah, the core sound. Yeah, the core sound chambers, because we got like all the 12D sound codes that were upgraded. All the 12D sound blueprints were upgraded. Yeah, so that's right. The core sound chambers are opening up. And that has to do with, Shambhala, because Shambhala is such a gateway of, light and sound. That's really truly um, what's going on. So yeah, if you guys just tuned in, we have Shambhala Week of Earth. This begins December 17th through the 24th, according to Mawahari444, who just posted this comment on a YouTube video on my last update where I started going into the mountains of Shambhala. So I think we are getting like a Shambhala upgrade on the planet. We're getting like a lot of divine light that's actually coming in through these gateways. And the etheric gateways to Shambhala are opening up. So we are, and when we talk about Shambhala, like we are talking about prophecy, right? Like in some sense, a lot of Shambhala, when you follow the trail of Shambhala, it's literally blurring the lines from what may seem like fantasizal, mythical, enchanting, um, a pastime that like no longer is here because it feels too like fairy tale almost. but also blending and merging that through, all of those more ethereal and astral and, more like past life memory into what we're perceiving with it now, like what's actually coming through the present reality, what's coming through with Shambhala in terms of the 3D timelines, and also according to, present day mythology when it comes to, what are the stories behind Shambhala at each location? Who were these ascended masters who spoke there? Who were what is the ascended, because it's like a cosmic gateway. It's like an axis mundi, which is anchoring, heaven and earth together. So between that, there's like celestial history, there's galactic history, there is just immense amount of planetary spiritual mechanics that are occurring within that portal, right? And also how that impacts the creation grid, how it impacts the mother grid, how it impacts the Lemurian light grids, and all of these things. So, hey guys, yeah, check on into the live. Hey Bianca. Hey Evie. Hey girl. Jason. Hello, hello. And Arcane Ascension with Way Miller. What's good? Catherine. Yeah, come on in. So yeah, Indigo Wizard says, seen a post that the Vatican is opening a vault under St. Peter on Christmas on December 25th, off topic. Oh yeah, that's a little bit off topic, but yeah, it's all relevant. It's all relevant though. I mean, the Vatican, we know that reversal gate is acting up right now. It's like, a child that's like throwing a tantrum, at this time of year. So yeah. Yeah, I'm so happy you guys are here. It took a minute for that live to like get to everybody. So I was just kind of going over everything we're going to talk about in terms of Shambhala. Drinking my mushroom coffee, all snuggled up basically in my Native American blanket that I have. It's like actual, I think it's like alpaca. It's really soft. But yeah, guys, so yeah, Shambhala, I feel like because it is, spanning across all those different dimensions in terms of how we're perceiving it and the framework of Shambhala, right? Like going from the mythical to what's actually relevant. What do we actually believe in terms of, you know, the mysteries and the legends and the lures that are around these sacred mountain peak points that are technically like an axis mundi, which is, merger fields from heaven and earth. And I also get this sense that it's like hard for people to believe that these places are real. I don't know what it is, but we can talk about stargates, we can talk about earth chakras and all these things, but once you start speaking of Shambhala, I feel like there is a little bit of a separation. Um, and I honestly feel like it's simply just because maybe a lot of people haven't been able to actually feel the power of, the energy that runs through a Stargate. Maybe they haven't personally experienced it. And so it's hard to really tie something that seems, so far out there or far away to like, how is this present or how is this really happening, if I haven't felt it directly. So, they're very influential gateways. I mean, I would say that compared to a Stargate, it's gonna be more of a sense of enlightenment through that portal. It's gonna be more of a sense of that raw, like God connection, like very pristine godly energies, very like like silent, like just like the presence and the magnitude and the infiniteness of silence and isolation with God, I guess. It's like the all omnipresent feeling, right? That's just emanating through these gateways because they're meant to really uphold, I think Shambhala is deeply connected to the sun disks and the guardian stargates, and that between those three energetic systems that there is a functioning of electromagnetic energy, of crystal vibration and currents, of celestial fire, like pure celestial fire just running through. And it's sustaining, the ultra matrices, um, which are very connected to specific star systems that I think do uphold more of the ultra light templating, but we're going to actually talk about today which one is Cygnus. Um, so I've been getting a lot of activations that the swan grid is coming online. So I think we really went through an activation from going through September and October where we were working a lot with the Dove Light grid and the Dove Light matrice. And I think that has opened us up into the Swan Light because they're very connected. And I think one transcends the other as it goes more quantum in its expression and its vibrancy in the earth. And so this is activating more prophecy. Okay, things that are rooted in prophecy. Shambhala is rooted in prophecy. Um, it's rooted in like ancient past prophecy as well, right? Like Mount Olympus and um, the Olympians and all of the Greek mythology. Like that was a portal of Shambhala. It was like the mountain of the Greek pantheon. That was their home. So it's like, yeah, it feels mystical. But I think that these peaks many of them do exist here. I would say the one like Mount Olympus and Mount Meru, they are more, I think, ethereal. But there are ones here that are not as much ethereal. Like we can access them, like Mount Kailash and things like this. So we're gonna get into all of these Shambhala portals. As long as I can go on the live here, I don't have much going on today. I'm just kind of having a Sunday fun day. So check on in and yeah, just put a like on this video if you're having a relaxing day as well. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hey, GeoPegasus, love, peace, joy, and blessings. Blessings to you, Sacred One, as well. That still point of ever infinite expanse. Yeah, that's a glorious space, isn't it? An Indigo Wizard 9 says they exist just shifting into those frequencies. When we match those frequencies, our senses expand. Yeah, this is all about expansion. We're expanding so much. We're just, yeah. It feels good to really open our hearts too and just let the expansion just happen. Like, yeah, let it go. Um, Yeah, I kept getting the messages the more I was connecting into Shambhala and New Earth that it's really about the ending of suffering. Like suffering just coming to an end. Like this just, yeah, because a lot of us are really connecting our higher ascended self and our oversoul and our monadic fields and our higher hearts and angelic hearts, like we're though that part of us is in Shambhala, like we're in that place. And so it's just we can call upon the ending of suffering in that space. It just dissolves. It just really does. Okay, yeah, wondering about the connection of the Swan Grid Light and the Arthurian legend. That's an interesting tie. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see how that connects in. That's a really, really good thought. Um, so, well, okay, let me, I want to show you guys something. So one thing that clued me in today a little bit more, where it got me kind of activated on this was you guys know Dr. Michael Salla. Well, he just posted something on his Facebook today about the peak of Mount Hermon from Syria. So this was something I just wanted to tie in with you guys. Um, you know how all of the wars going on over there in the Middle East. Um, but I think, you know, these Shambhala portals are, you know, opening up on a 3D sense with current timelines and things like this. So, yeah, Dr. Michael Salla posted this on his Facebook and it caught my eye because, you know, I was looking at Mount Hermon as a Shambhala location. There is like a very extensive history and legend, especially around the fallen angels. Like 200 of the fallen angels, like the actual descent that occurred, right? The actual, like the Nephilim giants coming down and mating with man, like this was supposedly at Mount Hermon, you know, and so we're talking about getting these Shambhala activations. We're going through the the etheric gates of Shambhala are opening, and it just so happens there's like military, you know, stuff going on over here in Syria. It says Israel Defense Forces seized the peak of Mount Hermon, the highest mountain in the region, as a precaution against the advance of Syrian rebels of the Assad regime collapse. I guess the Assad regime has collapsed. I've seen a bunch of things with people celebrating over there about this. So yeah. And, you know, they're saying there's like a huge military base that's running in Mount Hermon and in the peaks of Mount Hermon. It looks like this is Mount Hermon here, the peak of the mountain range. This is view of the Hula Valley and Mount Hermon from Manara, Israel. Okay, and says that Syria and Egypt surprised Israel with an attack on the. Okay, I'm not going to go into all of that part of it, but yeah. Well, I just know that I think that this is a Shambhala maybe that's been exploited, or it's been cursed in some way. You know, there's some sort of like, you know, because it's connected to the fall of man programming that's there. So they say that Mount Hermon is a forbidden place, actually. Um, it's in one of the fourth century Bibles here. I'm just looking on some notes from Wikipedia. Mount Hermon was the port of entry for a group of wicked angels who corrupted the human race in the days of Noah. So that's really interesting. Like, okay, Israel's coming to take over this mount. Um, Yeah, it says the gods or the Son of God saw the daughters of man, that they were fair. They took them wives of all which they chose. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of man, and they bare children to them. Same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown. Genesis 6:1-4. I think, yeah, I think this is the Nephilim descent that happened on Mount Hermon. So just so synchronistic, right, guys, that we're going through this week of Shambhala. And then this is, you know, I think that this Mount Hermon, Shambhala, like this, I think it would be a Shambhala, but it's been somehow punished or selected to be a part of like the hijack of the invader races. That, you know, it's a portal that's essentially running reversal codes. Um, so, you know, it's one that would definitely need to be worked on in terms of healing. Like it's a contention point of war. And you know, this is often where we do see the bulk of the revolution and the revelation occurring. So I just thought this was really interesting with this, guys. What do you guys think about this in terms of Shambala news. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. I have my pictures. So this is the Swan light grid. This was a light grid that I essentially channeled, I think in 2022 when we were getting a lot of the Cygnesian activations that were coming in the planet at that time. We were really getting a lot of the 222 codes. We were getting um just so much like accelerative celestial energy and fire that was coming into the planet at that time. That, I had kind of this vision of this swan light grid. And so it's kind of emanating the center of the diamond crystal star matrix of our internal sun, and those diamonds are emanating out. And so it's coming through like a patterning through the ley lines, connected to the 144,000 rebirthing and activation of the 144 on the planet. It's in alignment with these things. And so, yeah, I do think that um, this light grid comes through as a manifestation of the Axis Mundi as well. That's like coming through the cosmic consciousness within the material form. And it's just bringing forth the will of God, the direct gnosis of the cosmic order and source from which all creation flows. And this is, this would be a patterning of light that could and potentially be running itself through the Shambhala portals themselves, running through it. Um, so this light grid, it's basically serving as like an access to the seven higher harmonic universes. It's essentially providing like, I guess, access to the holy angelic lattices of light fields. This is what it would be, emanating at, with, and through, bringing through a much more powerful stream of angelic consciousness into the planet. It's really running through the white swan energy, which really is the baseline for the new earth, for the golden age. Like the golden age is considered the age of grace. And so when you think of the age of grace and you think of what the swan's attributes are and what the swan's qualities are, it's very much, I think it's the first light field or first planetary manifestation light template that's gonna, yeah, activate entirely like the golden age um high markers to set to run essentially on the earth. And so the swan grid, it's coming through. I think it's repatterning the fourth dimensional planetary fields, but it's also connecting to the internal sun, and then it's manifesting the diamonds emanating of the swan in the seven higher harmonic universes. And what I've been finding really interesting and what's been coming forward for me, and what even like brought this to my attention was that I think a lot of the star children that are coming to this earth from the next universe, that are coming in from the next planet, that they're coming in through this light grid, that this light grid like hosts their templating in their field. Because I essentially like met one of these star children the other day. Like I came into contact with a star children that she was way in the future. I mean, she was way like it didn't even feel, I mean, it felt like 400,000 years in the future. And just her templating from trying to get in here, her templating from trying to incarnating now, um, being like such a future star child, and coming through the swan white ray, that I think that it was difficult to get through the gate. Like it was a difficult, very difficult incarnation. And so they had to take on like a lot of fragmented soul, a lot of fragmented spirit just for the incarnation contract. So um yeah, they're coming here now. You guys, everything is being called in from the future timeline. There may not be like an abundance of these types on the planet that their souls are serving the next universe right now, but they are coming. They are here. They are like slowly getting here. They are literally the purest, most gentlest souls that you've ever felt in your life. There is literally such a gentle, fragile, like precious, like beauty, like beautiful heart. Sensitivities that are beyond that of what are presenting in indigo template types 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like their sensitivities are off the chart. And they're perceiving reality from a hyper multidimensionality that we can't even technically fathom yet. And they can't really entirely fathom it. So it's very, yeah, it's an interesting exchange of trying to ground that, right? Trying to find out what it is when it comes to trying to help that soul come into wholeness because they're working through such a hyper, you know, hyper transcendent body. It's like they're not even here to do anything really in the physical substantially. They're really not. They're here to just teach other souls of their existence and of the sensitivity. Because then they'll eventually become the support group for the next round coming in, and they're setting like a training ground, so to speak, if that makes sense. They're not going to really be able to participate in society like current indigos can, and current starseed children ultimately can. I'm talking about star children from the next universe. And this is really what the peaks of Shambhala are bringing into the planet. Yeah, because they hold the gateway to the highest ascension on the planet, essentially. Um, they like, yeah, they don't function like a guardian stargate. So a guardian stargate is handling life and death. Guardian stargate is handling, I guess, the organic recycling processes in the planet. It's protecting, it's guiding, it's transmuting. It's just like this whole like mechanical, like spiritual earth network, right? But like the Shambhala is like, no, like these are portals right into like just directly into like God source light fields. Yeah, there he is. Hey, Mawahari. Uh yeah, Shambhala week of the Earth, December 18th through the 24th. Now I'm wondering where you got that information actually, because it's just in alignment to everything I've been putting together. Like I didn't even know that this was something. So it's just really synchronistic because I've been guided over and over from Mount Pinnacle to look at Shambhala, all the peaks, that there would be 12 to 144 peaks of Shambhala activating in the planet and becoming more available to us until the year 2200 to 2400. Because we're gonna this is where we're gonna need them the most, essentially. But about those future next universe star children, it's like their frequencies also can't seem to handle like gender identity either. Like I know this is a whole thing with reversal codes that are occurring, like the like transgender agendas to basically target children and things like this. Like this is all, yes, happening, occurring, but there are like more innocent star children that are coming in that just genuinely don't they have like sexual ambiguity. They have sexual androgyny. So they don't identify with like male or female. They just like, because they're God source consciousness, right? It's just like there's no gender because it's all unified, it's all whole, that they don't feel like separation between that. Like, um, they have very advanced perception, very advanced intellect. It's hard for me to truly like define it and explain it honestly. It's just like something that it's because they're so much farther progressed than we are that I'm still like decoding this. If you have any information on any star children in the next universe, yeah, let me know or email it to me or something because I just met one the other day. I just met and it blew my mind um how advanced they were. So yeah, this is the Swan Grid template that you guys see on the screen. This was something that I put together in 2022. This is the light grid, the ultra radiant light grid that's facilitating beneficial portals in our field. You know, even beyond the dove light matricy. And so this is what is helping us to grant access to the next universe. And let me tell you something, if you are activated by this light grid template, like you feel like something electromagnetically stimulates, or you have a resonance, or you can feel the codes already inside you, or you know, you feel drawn to the Cygnus light or the Swan Grid template, like first of all, any Cygnusian incarnate or starseed on the planet holds the most ancient indigo records on the planet, going back to ancient Neanderthal. Their legacy is like 12,000 years already on the planet and even prior. So they just are your, and especially if you're on the ascension path and the enlightenment path, right? You are your ascended self, like your oversoul, your light body, is already accessing the spiritual systems of the next universe. So that's even just attuning to this, you're already being prepared for um like spiritual identity and spiritual existence in the next like planetary spheres. Um, through the gateways of Shambala and into the next universal systems, even if you can't see what that's going to be, you don't know what that's going to be. You just know that there's like an eternal existence and you're just going from life to life to life to life to life. And you can see that you are, um, you've already kind of transcended Earth. You know, like you're you're here in this human body and in this physical form, but your consciousness and the evolution with you is just beyond this planet. So you've been being prepared. Um, if you're resonating with the swan light template, if you can see that on a quantum level, within the radial light templates within the body, within your universal tree of life, within your holographic geography that sustains your light body field, within the quantum fields within that, um, this is kind of, yeah, the ultra quantum light lattices that build the consciousness framework for that to exist and come in and out of the body. It says the sealing of Shambala happens on January 15th through the 16th, with Shambala celebrations ending on the 18th. Okay. Well, I'm wondering why they seal it. Like, what is the sealing happening for? Like, why would they seal it? Is that to try to close them? This corresponds with the gold aquamarine ray of Archaea Clarity and the white ray of Archangel Gabriel. Yeah, we've been getting so much white ray activations. I feel like the white ray right now is really activating through like every celestial system. I just seen the white ray come through the Arcturian gate. I seen the white ray come through the Syrian gate. I seen the white ray come through the Cygnus gate. So it's like each celestial faction holds a white ray activation and lineage, and crystal body and gem body within the earth. So yeah, this is definitely a protective, the swan grid is definitely a protective grid. It's if you're activated by this light grid matrices or um basically you're embodying like visionary, prophecy holder, seer wisdom. Yeah, like I said, your light body's already on the future next universal spiritual planes. So you are very advanced in um, moving through timelines and even doing forms of time travel as well. But it's also a protective shield. Um, you may not realize, but when you're like accessing these layers, right? Like you're creating a protective shield around you that's assisting you from the disruptions and efforts of things like, like devices and technology and planetary bioweapons and frequency fences and laser beams and the spike Saturn matrix. Like it's like the angelic protection within you is so strong that that field is just so enhanced. Um, it's like you have a fire water crystal blue diamond matrix around you that is, protecting your field and for ascension because technically, I mean, this is information of, and I don't like to use, I mean, some people might not like this word, but the chosen ones, the chosen ones on the planet, like those that have like truly accepted the mission work um, and the enlightenment path. Like they are investing their life into mission, 24/7, like eat, sleep, breathe mission. Um, and so it's like the God source is protecting their guardians, their ones that are on rescue missions, the ones that are on restoration missions, ones that are on personal assignments within this as well. You know, those of us that have to take on bigger missions and roles to sustain the portals and open the portals and work with the energy grids, like there is a protective force that's shielding those connected to this. Yeah, guys, be sure to put a like on this video today. We're gonna jump into some of the Shambala portals that we were talking about on my live yesterday, and I didn't have as much time to dig into them and go through them, but today I have a little bit more time to do that. So this was Mount Belukha. So this one's actually in Russia. This is considered the Golden Mountain. Yeah, and I just want to say I've been talking about prophecy, right? Like a lot of this is tied to New Earth prophecy. And prophecy is just, it's a way to, it doesn't mean it's fake, right? It means like infinite is or creation is infinite and timelines are infinite. Um, Prophecy is just kind of like it's like you're building vision into the future, but and prophecy also assists us on a soul level. It assists us to allow us to see right into the probabilities and the possibilities and the potentials of the timelines, and it brings us a sense of like deeper knowing in terms of the wholeness of who we are and where we're going. And so I think prophecy is something that, a lot of the ascended ones that walked the earth, like Buddha, Shiva, Yeshua, Christ, like Sanat Kumara, there's a whole bunch of ascended masters, which I want to address that too. A lot of people are saying like the Ascended Masters are like this is a program or it's a reversal program of some sort. I find that really strange, and I want to say it's because, people have no problem accepting ascended masters such as like Buddha and Shiva and Christ, right? Like I think Christ, Yeshua, he would be the most respected ascended master, right? Like that ever walked the earth, that spoke gnosis, spoke the truth of God and all of this. But this is okay, but then like other ones are not. I think people have to understand that there's been many, many, many ascended ones that have walked the earth, that it's not limited to just these ones, right? It's not limited to us either. Like it's not limited to our journey and our full potential and who and what we can become in this life, like the full potential of your transcendence, the full potential of your prophetism, the whole potential of your messianism, whatever you want to call it, like your ascent here. You don't have to cap anywhere. That's it's like a blockage in the perception that we can't attain a similar level of wisdom, knowledge, and connection with God. It's really just about living that life and that consciousness being your living experience and like making that your living experience. So and the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of wisdom, pursuing your avatar self, pursuing your planetary logos consciousness, pursuing the locations of Shambala because they interplay with our divine will and our love and our wisdom. And so that, like when you talk about the 144, like these would be, they would be ascended masters, essentially. They would be those that are supported by, all of these things. Like they would get to experience miracles. They would get to experience profound levels of spiritual healing and enlightenment. And so, yeah, this is what Shambhala basically serves. And so there are mountain sanctuaries. They're everywhere, all over the earth. There's multiple of them. It's not just one fictional place that I think we've come to perceive in terms of our perception about it. So they're very significant to the new Earth's future and the transition worldwide that's going into the golden age. And so, yeah, Belukha Mountain, this one is considered the golden mountain. And this one it's very activated because there's a lot of like native connection to it. I think in Russia, they have a lot of ancient shrines that is at Mount Belukha. This is an actual place. In Russia, they call it Three Peaks or Beluga Mountain or Ice Mount Peak. But essentially this one, yeah, it has a lot of burial sites, petroglyphs, standing stones. It's a place of very powerful spiritual significance. And it's really a gateway that's serving for the high solar rishi, right? It's channeling like the golden ray spectrum. It's channeling the divine consciousness to repair and restore DNA strands 10 through 12. So it's like almost like a repairing Shambhala. This one has a lot of access to the center of the Earth sun. So the center of the swan dove light grid matrice and the diamond heart of the planet, the crystal diamond heart, as that's transmitting and transitioning as well, going from a violet core to like a golden core. As we have the golden blood ones emerging the planet, we have the seventh Manu race coming to the earth that will contain that blood type. And so this one's very significant to the gold records. This is kind of all about gold. And this one, essentially it nurtures, yeah, just correcting the gold Templar, correcting the gold records, correcting the gold fields. And so it's almost a restoration process that's happening at Mount Belukha as it upgrades the golden frequencies to anchor in the new Earth's crystalline codes, essentially. So its energy is nurturing the spiritual evolution of humanity. So this one was One of the more significant ones that I came across, Mount Belukha. And the next one we have Mount Everest, the law of transformation. This one is very significant amongst like the Tibetans of the world. They call it the goddess mother of the world, um, goddess of the sky. And, Everest, I think we all know about Mount Everest. Like it is just like it's a mountain that it carries a lot of profound sacred energy. They said the Sherpa people, they say Everest is not a mountain to be conquered, but a divine entity to be honored. And they believe it radiates a spiritual force that amplifies karma and transforms all who approach it with reverence. So when I tuned into this, I really picked up on the law of transformation, that this peak, like if it's pursued, like if you pursue to go to Mount Everest, and drop it in the comments if you think you would ever try to like go hike Mount Everest. I think you have to be like a professional, in that realm of hiking, and that a lot of people, I don't think people necessarily like even make it down. I think there's even been lots of movies on Mount Everest where, you know, like tragic movies where people get like they don't come down. But that's the thing about these pristine places, right? That just has like powerful energy. Like they can give life and they can take life. Like this had the same energy as the Queen's Bath when we went to Kauai, Hawaii. The Queen's Bath is a place where, people died there a lot because they weren't careful jumping off the cliffs into the water, and the waves were rushing up onto the cliffs, and accidents would happen a lot. Like people did underestimated the power of that place. And so it's like if you underestimate the dangers of things, like there can be costly retribution for these things. So I think that this mountain, Mount Everest, is specifically about metamorphosis. It's about transformation. And it's a Shambhala passageway. See, here's another picture of it. Looks a little different, but this one's been taken to some alterations, of course, to just show the spiritual energy coming through it, right? Like helping you to visualize the power and the radiance of it. But essentially, I think with Mount Everest that it's a lot about ego deaths. Like ego deaths, it's kind of the central lesson for transformation, is where the false self dissolves and we have to make way for the rebirth of a more authentic and enlightened identity, right? Like we can't become transcendent and we can't become ascended and we can't like we won't even be able to access Shambhala without this happening, right? Like you literally do not get access to this if you are not at a certain level of purity. Like it's just how it works. You will be redirected away from places like Shambhala if you're not holding high codes to access it. So, um, yeah, Mount Everest amplifies this process. Mount Everest intensifies the lessons of the laws of transformation through cosmic alignment of its own personal position in its universal time matrix. Everest is a key point, pillar architecture for the four cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. It's anchoring cosmic energy from those directions. And so it's also working with the laws of alchemy and really like all the universal laws. It's a universal law amplifier, like completely. Just every universal law you can really connect in, the laws of cause and effect, the laws of alchemy, the laws of love, the law of fear. I think that's a universal law. actually, just because in the beginning there was just love and fear. So the laws of love and fear, um, which would be the law of polarity, the law of duality. So all of these laws just come through this location. And so this really can prompt the spiritual pathwork to accelerate through our cycle of change that we're in. We're in the time of change. So I think this is going to be a very significant portal of Shambhala moving forward. That's going to play more in our timelines as we go through the terra reformation processes on the planet, all of these things. GeoPegasus 444 says the truth is always known in the end. That's right. Evie, we need to respect the power of nature. Yes, we do. Tibetan name Choma Lungama means goddess mother of the world or goddess of the valley. The Sanskrit name Sagarmatha means literally peak of heaven. Yes. Yes, peak of heaven. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Evie says Everest has even a death zone where the pressure of oxygen is insufficient to sustain human life for an extended time span. Wow. That is just crazy. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I would just take a nice little hike at the bottom. I don't know if that's one that I would personally, I think I would need to like train. I don't even know. I don't know. Drop it down in the chat, guys, if you think you would take something like that on. But I'm sure getting to the top of that, I mean, there is a pretty powerful, enlightened, significant spiritual reward waiting for you at the top. I think a lot of people who hike Mount Everest, when they come back down, and if they make it and they don't die, um, that they're forever transformed in their life. Like they're not the same person, right? They've experienced something that not very many other humans can say that they've experienced. So let's see here. This next one I'm going to talk about is Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash is very significant. Some of you may already be very connected to this one. I want to say Mount Kailash is like it's considered like the creme de la creme Shambhala. It's it's the number one hotspot, so to speak. Like this one, a lot of people are really connected to it, and a lot of my grid worker friends and people who've gone on mission, work with me, teammates, uh, they tell me Kailash is like it's profound. It's very significant. So, um, this one is considered Lord Shiva's throne. I mean, this is considered Shiva's home. Like this is where he lives. This is where he sits on the planet, on the earth. So if you're gonna search the world to try to find Shiva, you want to go to Mount Kailash because this is his place. Let's see. Theron says, I don't think it's necessary to go to the top to appreciate and experience his majesty. Yeah, I agree. Like you can definitely get a lot out of the bottom, that's for sure. Yeah. Like, well, I mean, some of these Shambhala places, like, they don't let you, like, you have to stand back. I think Kailash might even be one that you might not even be allowed to go up on anymore. Indigo Wizard says it would take most of our lives to adapt to hiking Everest. Yeah, that would be quite a transformational quest for sure. I can't even imagine. You'd probably have to, I mean, someone like me, considering that, I would have to think about like probably hiring a professional guide. Yeah. Go up as far as you can, then go a little more each hike. Yeah, you'd have to keep training on it. You'd have to move there just to work on it. Wow. What a dedication, right? Mawahari, Kailash, crown chakra of the earth. Yes, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Mawa, we are so in sync with what's coming through. It's a Shiva Lingam. Oh my goodness. Ah, I love it. Um, well, yeah, this is the most majestic Shambhala, you guys. This is the one that really has the most spiritual significance. This is the one that is really considered a sacred pinnacle of divine energy, and it they call it the Tibetan they call it the precious jewel of snows. They call it the water's flower and the mountain of seawater. So the Tibetan Buddhist, they call it the water's flower or the mountain of seawater. And Hindus venerate it as the celestial throne of Lord Shiva, where he sits in eternal meditation, wrapping the sacred peaks of the divine yogic energy. My gosh, what I would give to go meditate here. I mean, it's definitely on the list. Um, they call it the navel of the universe, and basically I think Shiva's whole family is there, like his consort, his wife, their sons, Ganesha. They devoted the sacred bowl to this as well. And they say it's about, so going here, when you go here, the experience you're going to get is it will reveal timeless truths to you. Timeless truths. Think about that. Prophecy, new earth, going into the future, vision holder, vision quest, right? We're getting all the downloads. We're seeing, I mean, this is what Shambhala is bringing us. So I think we have to really trust, the lifting of these veils, the lifting of the illusions, the imparting of divine knowledge to us, the ability to transcend the duality, awakening our sensory awareness, guiding souls towards enlightenment of the formlessness of the eternal, unconditional, radiant, state of existence, like the pure point of existence, just the ultimate liberation, full freedom, right? And teaching us how to become free. We are learning from Shambhala how to become free. Gio says, I got a tattoo of Shiva. That's so awesome. I love it. I wouldn't mind. I've wanted to get recently a tattoo of a swan because I'm really connected to the swan energy, talking about the swan light grid. Yeah, but I want to get one maybe down on my ankle or my foot or something like that. I've been thinking about it, been looking at them. Don't know when I'm going to do it, but I've been really wanting to. Abby says the book of Vishnu Puran describes Kailash, four faces that are made of crystal, ruby, gold, and lapis. The pilgrims do that walking around Mount Kailash in a clockwise direction. Oh my gosh, yes. Clockwise, woo! I mean, especially when you have people that know what that is. Like they know that that's Shambhala. They know that like this is to be basically venerated, consecrated, worshipped, honored, like prayed to every day. When that's always happening at these sites, I mean, you are met purely face to face with the divine because it's just being anchored, 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 sustained, sustained, sustained. And so you are just so radiant in that energy. Um, Okay, Lady Jefferson says, I thought that Bishop in his multicolored robes and Merlin's scarf was mighty strange, banging on the doors of the cathedral to open up for him. Definitely a ritual. Are you talking about Notre Dame being reopened? I think they had like some ritual because I don't know why it made me think of that for some reason. But yeah, a lot's been coming up with Merlin and clearing the distortions around this. GeoPegasus 444. I want to get a green tar tattoo at some point. Okay, there's a lot of tattoos we want to get. It's kind of like once you get one, you can't stop getting them. Um, this is supposed to be like a picture of it, but I don't think it's probably a very good picture of it. This might be one from like the very top of Kailash. But yeah, it's considered an axis mundi, a sacred cosmic pillar bridging heaven and earth. It is the symbolic center of humanity's spiritual quest. And it's, believe it or not, it's alignment um, and some significant digits. Like it's 6,666 kilometers away from Stonehenge. It is 6,666 kilometers away from the North Pole. And I think the South Pole as well. It's like 13,332. So it's just like doubled. But yeah, it's a reinforcing significant central point on the world's spiritual grid. And it's just a gateway. It's just a pure gateway to Shambhala. It's magnificent. And I think it's just really a testament to the divine connection between heaven and earth. And honestly, I think people won't even get access to this video today if they weren't, able to hold the enlightenment of this place, like the sacredness of this place. Like, and to be honest with you, a lot of this information will be kept sacred more so. It will be kept more secret amongst those who are able to, keep this energy pure, safeguard this energy, protect this energy, guard this energy. Um, because you can see what's going over on at Mount Hermon right now. Like, this is what happens when a Shambhala portal isn't essentially, uh, where'd that go? Isn't respected. It's been taken over by the fallen. 200 fallen angels came out of Mount Hermon. This was the descent of the Nephilim. This was the first original force breeder program, or one of them, not the original, but one of them that occurred. And so, yeah, I mean, I really do think like Mount Hermon could be like reclaimed for good, but that, now look at all of the chaos that's swirling around this. Like it's literally tying into the World War III timelines. A Shambhala portal, or once was a Shambhala that's now carrying the fall of man programming, is now entangled in World War III timelines. So if anything, maybe, as more Shambhala portals activate, it would be sending clearing energy to Mount Hermon. The mountain is the pillar of the world, and the entire universe is operated from with this place. Yeah, it's well, this the God energy on the planet, definitely. Yeah, driving all manifestation fields, right? All reality fields. So, okay, here's the other one that we've been talking about. The Great Mount Etna. I was so excited to go over this one with you guys because I was getting such a found activation from Mount Etna. Um, this one is actually a stratovolcano. It's literally on the island, the actual like Sicilian island. It's like right in the center, or I think it's on the coast of the island, but the island itself is straight in the center of the Mediterranean, like smack dab in the center of the Mediterranean. And you know how powerful those Mediterranean womb waters are. I mean, those are some of the most, that's probably one of the most sacred waters in the world is the Mediterranean Sea. And it's really in a significant, powerfully generated place. It's right on the center of a fault line as well, connecting two faults together. And it's also like an extremely active stratovolcano. It has like the most activity in the world. It's how much it's constantly like, you know, spitting fire or whatever you want to call it. Like it's a very powerful transformative force. It has like a dual force to it. Like it does have like the destruction and creation force. I feel like that is intertwined with it. But it is deeply connected to the Arthurian legend, right? This is where the flames of the Holy Grail and echoes of the King Arthur's kingdom intertwine. And so it contains the mysteries of Avalon's like all the scholars and storytellers, they speculated about this because a lot of people think that King Arthur's kingdom is in Glastonbury. Um, but they think that actually may be the fable tale and that Etna may be the real tale of Avalon because it's so unknown. Like it's kind of, it pulls people out of that, you know, of what they thought they knew. And that's kind of how it always is though, right? It's always something that we don't really expect. It's something different. There was I guess a bunch of books from the 12th century that paint this picture of Mount Etna being Avalon. And I guess it came after the battle from Camlan occurred. So whatever occurred in this battle with King Arthur at Camlan, this is when they went to Mount Etna. It's deeply rooted in Sicilian lore and Sicilian legend. So, like, I think if you were to speak with any local Sicilians on the island, they would um, probably know about this. And maybe they're the only ones that really do, you know? But yeah, they say that the slopes of Etna is guarded by Morgan Le Fay, who sips with him from the Holy Grail. And I think Etna itself is supposed to represent the Holy Grail. Like the stratovolcano itself is the Grail cup that fills with the blood, right? Fills with the lava, waiting for the time that Arthur rises again. And that this Shambala portal has lots of underground cities and underground tunnels, and it's serving basically a lot of gateways into Agartha and also Shambhala. That it's, you know, and it might be a polarity zone, really, truly. It may be um I'm just picking this up now, but a Shambhala that holds more of the karmic balances or karmic retribution within mankind and humanity. That this could also be seen as the scales too. They say that it's called the Eye of Etna, and that this is a cosmic portal connecting to the higher realms. Um, and the Excalibur Arthurian legend sword, King Richard I presented a sword that he believed to be Excalibur to Tancred of Sicily in 1191. And then they said that the sword of Excalibur was then forged in Avalon, which aligns with Etna, being the sacred forge of the gods tied to the Greek god Hephaestus, the divine blacksmith who crafted weapons and thunderbolts in the volcano's fiery heart. So I think that's pretty cool, actually. Rod and staff, Indigo Wizard says, the fire transmutes shadow into gold, and Excalibur represents our king, queenship, and sovereignty. Definitely, definitely. Um, so Arthur is also connected to an ascended master named El Moria. Um, So it's interesting. Some of these ascended masters take multiple incarnations. Like Almoria, I guess he's been here incarnate, he's been going from life to life to life as well. He was King Arthur. And then Almoria was also Abraham. Like he incarnated as Abraham. The first Hebrew patriarch of the White Brotherhood embodies the spirit of leadership and divine purpose for the purpose of religion, okay, and bringing forth um, these concepts to the planet. And so, as King Arthur, he established the Order of the Round Table, a spiritual brotherhood. So, really, we have to thank this Ascended Master Almoria for all these brotherhoods that were created. Even the Knights Templar, as well, I think was created through this. So, and again, at these times, these things weren't basically holding the reversal codes that they at a later point then became distorted and corrupted in their original purpose. So it's just, yeah, it's very interesting. It seems like Mount Etna and also, yeah, Mount Hermon have some similarities in common here. basically the Order of the Round Table talked about a spiritual brotherhood that was inspired by illumined life streams that they tapped into as they accessed Mount Etna, as they accessed the Shambhala portal, that they connected into illumined life streams that allowed them to access the etheric records of Shambhala, and that it was the etheric records of Shambhala that probably gifted and imparted this wisdom to Abraham itself, right? Tapping right into the God consciousness to get all of this information. So yeah, I think Mount Etna is a super significant one that is probably very not known and overlooked. And there's this is supposed to be the actual Mount Etna here. That there's a lot of information here that I think we can tap into and gather when it comes to who actually were the Ascended Masters that have all of this to do with these very prestigious prophets. Who are the Ascended Masters that are embodied by King Arthur and by, who was the other one? Abraham, that they're on this sacred quest for the Holy Grail, that this is significant. Yeah. Etna symbolizes the chalice, the Holy Grail, and the gateway passageway to Shambhala. Mm. Yeah, and I know there's a lot of reversal patterning also connecting with the Ascended Master Saint Germain. So it's interesting. It's interesting. There's a lot that's tying in, I think, when it comes to, I think what it boils down to is people just not knowing what or who to trust anymore. When it comes to utilizing these certain archetypes or beings. Really, they're not archetypes or beings. They're just essentially illumined life streams. That's essentially what they are. Like they're just literally life streams. We give them faces, we give them purpose, but it's really just like an energy that's has transcended karma on the earth and has transcended the limitations of the human physical limitations. So now it's like an ascended life stream. Okay, so this one is going to be Mount Meru. This one I feel like was more mythological, so to speak. And yeah, guys, be sure to put a like on this video today and share this out. We're still rolling for a little while here. I think we have a couple more to get into. And drop a comment down below. Share this out to your Indigo and Starseed friends and those that are on the path of ascension. Those that you feel like hold the codes to access this information. Abby says, maybe we can see the Ascended Masters as guides who have transcended certain limitations and are now offering wisdom based on their experiences. I mean, I think it's exactly what it is. I think it's our own distrust in which also demonizes things. And I think that's a lot of the messages I've been getting as well with, we have to stop demonizing everything. It's like, it's such a, initial response to everything is just to find the shadow. I think we're programmed to look for shadow. We're programmed to look for darkness. We're programmed to, because we're in so much of survival mode and defense mode. We're so much in having to protect and defend that we can't simply love, live, and enjoy. Even when it comes down to the brink of our consciousness and spirituality, we know the depth of the war of our consciousness. And so I guess the earth is not entirely, at least within the 3D timelines, the root chakra of the planet is still very disheveled, right? Like there's still so much separation and fragmentation within safety. I think in the humanitarian core soul collective fracture that we're dealing with, that it's hard for us to really, I think, entirely get the true nature of these things and what they mean for humanity and what the existence of it is for. It really stops our evolution and progress when we submit to things that have been demonized without further seeking the truth, right? And going much deeper into our research. Um, Really, what these teachings promote is God's sovereign freedom. So this is a way to exist. Um, Whether you're receiving these teachings through like an ascended master, I would say, right, again, the most trusting one is Christ, right? Like this is the one that everybody follows, like this is the one that everybody knows, but there's more on the planet. There's more illumined life streams that have achieved ascension, and they're teaching about God's sovereign freedom. You know, nothing was ever bound or wrapped up into any sort of strict, like religious rules, you know, that our true way of existing is through God's sovereign freedom and to become the highest ascended version of ourselves. That this is really what the illumined ones were speaking about. Mount Meru, this one is significant, I think in Hinduism and Buddhism as well. Uh, it's another prime location of Shambhala. I feel like this one also is very connected to Lord Shiva as well, but it's also very connected to the lotus. Um, and this one is about nurturing. This one is about nourishment. This one is about lush forest and fruit trees and precious stones and mountain gleams with golden light. And it's just symbolizing a pure divine essence in nature. And it's a universal hub. It's a stairway to the abode of gods. It's it's transcended sin. So there's like no sin here. There's no nothing is bad. Like there's no bad. Like there's no all is innocent. All is forgiven. This is the Shambhala mountain that unburdens karmic debts. And this is one that allows you to truly reach the heavenly gates. So this one's very connected to Kailash as well. And it's considered a paradise, a celestial beauty that is frequented by gods and devas. And um, yeah, I thought this one was very significant. I don't have a picture of Mount Meru. I think because there's not actually a picture of it. I think this is something was more ethereal. You know how I was telling you there's more ethereal? Okay, and the last one I wanted to talk about was the Kunlun Mountains. This one's considered the Rainbow Bridge. Mawahari says Mount Kailash is the physical counterpart of Mount Meru. Okay. Yeah, I knew they were very deeply connected. They were very like one and the same. Um, and the Kunlun Mountains as well. This is also connected to Mount Kailash too. This one is more in Tibetan Buddhism traditions, but this one's more connected with the Rainbow Body Bridge in esoteric teachings, ancient Melchizedek teachings, that they focus on the ascension of the physical form into pure light here, and they really focus on the mastery of the five elements. So basically, all of the lineages that have safeguarded the Kunlun Mountains, they're basically like the protectors of the Antakarana Bridge. They're the protectors of the Rainbow Bridge to Source, the creation ray, the conduit for the universal Kundalini currents flowing in from the Andromedan matrix and the planetary grid. So this one is, yeah, connected very galactically to Andromeda. And I think this one is really just it's a sacred sanctuary, um, not only above the ground, but below into the underground cave systems as well, where I think they have a lot of like dwelling spiritual communities that are actually under the ground here. A lot of these are like Tibetan tribes. So like they call them the Zunzan tribes, the Zuzan, Maji Grail tribes, Tibetan civilizations, Zhang Zung civilizations that are near Mount Kailash. Some of them reside in the Kunlun Mountains as well. And yeah, they just preserve a lot of sacred ancient teachings here. It's very much a protective archetypal manifestation of divine wisdom that's here. It's also considered an axis mundi, connecting heaven and earth. Um, and yeah, this one's connected to Shiva as well. So, I mean, a lot of these are really deep connections to this ascended master. Shiva's an ascended master, right? So, yeah, this one's connected to the Aurora passageways, the Amaraya passageways, the Northern Lights. It's connected to the Aurora Rainbow Consciousness. So there's a lot of ascension that's occurring here. It's really sustaining so much in terms of Shambala and the law of one and spiritual sovereignty and cosmic alignment. So yeah, guys, that's all the ones I wanted to present today. We did tie in some stuff for Mount Olympus and also Angel Falls, but I'm gonna have to work through, I think, some of that information that's come forward. I hope you guys liked this live today. I'm gonna stop sharing. Yeah, I think all these Shambhala portals, it's significant for what's being anchored here on the planet right now. Um, Indigo Wizard says, from the Guardians material, the diagram on soul over soul avatar, ascended master, we are all ascended masters that fell and now are connecting back into our 1728 selves to become one again. Yeah, I think we're definitely getting the upgrades. I mean, I can feel them all the time. And honestly, how you know you're kind of in this like you're connected and you're integrating this and you're I notice what's happening to me a lot is I am dissociated from my body a lot, like, because my 12 dimensional blueprint is still sustained, like I'm still sustaining it, but I can't feed it. I can't ultimately feed it being like where I'm at in the grids right now, right? Like I'm very density locked and I'm under a lot of suppression of frequency fences, cell towers, and things like this. So, um, I was able to create a 12D portal in the city over at the Buddhist temple. It's one place I can go to activate and sustain that light. I notice I'm very kind of disassociated from my body and from my consciousness a lot of the time because everything in the 3D isn't relevant to the higher timelines, right? Like it's just right, the enlightenment, the formlessness, the higher consciousness, the preservation of beingness and oneness and atonement, and the consecratedness of your temple, the sacredness, like it's like we're trying to find ways to create the environment at all times that can now sustain this. So we can continue walking, the path without, because when the body is upgrading to these higher ascended timelines and new earth and frequencies and prophecies and codes and these new ultra terrestrial light grid matrices that are sustaining this evolution, our bodies also like change with that. Our cells change with that. So you may find it more difficult to like function in the 3D. I think that was maybe some of the biggest complaints from getting back from the mission work this time, was that it was really hard to reintegrate back into regular reality or just regular way of doing things, because it almost, you can feel how old world system everything is now. Like it's really strong. So yeah, you have to find ways. We have to find ways to I think try to continue to sustain that connection as information comes in and allow ourselves to process all of the downloads, all of the information, everything we have to record, because as much as it might be a strain to exist in a state of what feels like suffering, because everything connected to 3D is in suffering, basically. Everything is tied to fallen programming, fallen timelines, like everything is tied in one way or another energetically. So we can't actually fully cut ourselves off from the integration of those fallen programs to penetrate us, right? Because the only way to truly do something like that is to cut those things off and out of the reality, and you exist within the purity of energy. But we have so much that ties us to the old fallen world that, yeah, we have to sustain, I think, certain levels of suffering to anchor the information and anchor the future timelines. But many of us won't have to exist in this realm for long, but it is this realm that will allow us to bridge worlds to help people to move out of the old systems, essentially. I think tuning in with the Kunlun Mountains might help us more with the bridging qualities and frequency, energy, and power that we need to sustain to help people to shift out of the old limitations of the old earth and the blockages they have in which seeing the new earth prophecy and the new earth timelines. But yeah, guys, it was so good to connect with you today. I'm going to head out, and I hope you have a beautiful everything. And I do have some openings right now too. I just want to say for December, I think my schedule's pretty open. So if anyone is looking to do any session work, one of my sessions that I think has been coming up a lot lately is my planetary grid coordinate reading. So if you feel like you want me to evaluate where you're at, where you're located, where you were born, where did all the trauma and trigger points or events occur in the grids, and chart out a personal map to figure out what are your birth lines, your relationship lines, what gate systems or parallels or timelines are these running through, and get a planetary coordinate grid reading, because I think we can decode quite a bit about somebody's life path and then also the future path as well, in terms of where's most important for you to travel and things like this, right? Like a cartography reading where you're getting insight, and then psychic and channel messages. So I'll leave links down in the description for my planetary coordinate grid reading. Highly recommended right now. I love you guys so much, and namaste, and have a beautiful everything, guys.